Hey everybody, today we're going to be covering the 5 things that you need to know before buying a Texas ranch here in 2021. So if that's what you're here for, stick around. We're getting after it right now. Hey, this is Kerry Fletcher, Land and Ranch Specialist here at Mims Group. And look, this channel is all about living, eating, sleeping, that Texas land and ranch lifestyle. So if that's what you're into, that's what you want to know more about, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. That way you're notified every time we put out a new video. And look, if you, your family, anybody you know, ready to find your little piece of heaven here on earth, go ahead and give us a call. Send us a text message, send us a note. Heck, send us a note. Heck, send us a note via, send us an email or send us a note via Pony Express. Any which way you want to get in contact with us, we've got your back when moving here to Texas. Now let's get into it. Number 1. I got to do these big number 1s so that whenever I'm editing it in, got a marker. Number 1. Where is the best land for what you want to do? Now, if you haven't caught it, I did a whole deep dive into Texas land and where's the best place. So I'm gonna put a link in up there for you so that you can click over to it and go into a deep dive. I'm just gonna cover it about this deep. But Texas is widely diverse. I know everybody knows Texas is big. Texas is huge. Well, not only is Texas big and Texas is huge, but it has everything from piney woods and sandy soils out in the east where you're getting 55, 50 to 60 inches of rain year in, year out. I mean, it's swampland, right? Everything out to way out west where it's arid and it's part of that desert, Pecos Desert, and you've got highlands, everything in between. And we go into a deep dive into the soils, the water, the vegetation, the topography that goes into it. And that's really, you need to know and understand. Well, if I'm gonna be raising goats or sheep, I'm gonna want thin soils generally. I'm gonna want, shorter grasses because, you don't want to, because they can survive better in that. If you're gonna want to raise a bunch of cattle and you don't want to have a whole bunch of land to manage, you're going to want to be in that blackland prairie or that combination or that interchange between blackland prairie and the post oak savanna, where you've got some heavier grasses, that sandy loam soil, that blackland soil, such that you can get good haze, good grass production, lots of water. If you want hunting, I just talked to somebody the other day. They're like, I want to hunt and I want conservation of wildlife. Well, we're going to be going down into that west central Texas, that south Texas, and we're going to do game management. So it all depends on what you want to do, but be sure that you have a clear vision of what that is. That way you can spend some time and some research focusing in on what's the best areas, what are the best types of things that are going to support what you and your family want. So number 2 is, how much does it cost? And when I talk about it, the biggest and the most expensive one, it is the land. And I can't tell you how many times I talk to appraisers, I talk to people, tax specialists all over this state, and you'd be inundated with all the stories about, yeah, so and so moved in from California and paid, half the, or not half, but double the price per acre for this place because it looked really pretty, and now all the rest of you people, your taxes now went up because that has set the market, right? And that happens time and time again. And I'm not picking on anybody from California. It happens from people moving in from Dallas or from Houston or from Austin or from San Antonio. Knowing and understanding what the local rate is, what the local value is, what the market expectations are in that area, not from where you're from or what you think is cheap, but what the real price of it is. And I gotta tell you, people get taken advantage of all the time and overpay for land, and they shouldn't. It hurts not only them, but it hurts everybody else around them. So don't do it. Let's do the work and find out what the land costs. But it's not just land, it's the equipment. You know, you're gonna need that tractor, you're gonna need that truck, you're gonna need that trailer. Finding out and understanding what it costs is super, super important. Animals. If you haven't caught, you know, some of my parents' testimonials, first time my dad went in and tried to buy animals, he had a business partner that didn't understand how cattle auctions worked and how, you know, to really get a good evaluation of the full lot that's being sold, because they'll throw out one or two little trophy cow calves and you think, oh, this is, you know, representative of the whole lot, and it's not. You get a bunch of duds. So understanding how those auctions work, how to evaluate what the animals should look like, what the animals should bring at a market, so that you're not overpaying for the animals. And then also like feed, improvements, fertilizer. How much should it cost to have someone come in and cut and bale your hay every year? If you don't know and understand those costs, you could really impact your wallet sort of one exchange at a time. And so number 2 leads into number 3, is where can you get, well, a little bit different, I'm sorry, where can you get quality help? And when I mean quality help, I'm talking about who's the go-to guy who knows how to build fence. Not just somebody who has a contractor license, but somebody who does quality work at a fair price over and over again. Fencing, hay operations, I mentioned that earlier in the cost, but also who's gonna do it. Because think about it, whenever you're either going to do one of two things. Either you're going to buy all the equipment and have to do all your hay operations and then have it sitting in your barn 90%, because you're going to get 1, 2, 3 cuts if you're lucky of hay, and depend on how much you're using it for grazing at the time. So do you really want to buy a piece of equipment? No, you're probably going to outsource that. Well, here's news for you. Everybody else is going to want their hay cut, their hay baled, their hay processed at about the same time. So finding someone who's reliable, who's not just going to put you off and make a commitment that says, yeah, I'll do it, and then never really shows up, or somebody who's going to overcharge you, somebody who is there to help. Vet services. Not everybody my uncle's a vet, and he'll be the first one to tell you, not every vet is a good vet. Just like not every doctor is a good doctor, not every lawyer is a good lawyer, not every vet is a good vet. So knowing and understanding and finding a good quality veterinarian and veterinarian services is going to be critical to your operations. And then the last, it's not the last one, but the last example that I'm going to highlight is a mechanic. You know, the amount of equipment that it goes into operating land ranch operations, everything from ATVs, pickup trucks, trailers, tractors, cutters, plows, you name it. A good mechanic and a welder, maybe two separate things, or mechanic welder together, is going to be crucial. And then finally, with that is someone who can help come in and do some of those heavy services like plowing the fields, turning the fields, fertilizing, weed control. Either you're going to do that yourself or you're going to outsource it, but finding out who can either help you, guide you, coach you on that, good quality help. 4. So number 4, I'm a big fan of, small government, right? Less government intrusion. So I'm not a big fan of huge government programs and things like that. However, I think we can all sort of agree that supporting the food chain and supporting the farmers and the ranchers who provide our food every day, and protecting them is critical to our common good. Now let me just show you an example, because this may not be intuitive. So farmers, ranchers, every day have to go out there and they have to plan years in advance, right? What kind of soils they're going to deal with, what kind of equipment they're going to buy, what kind of seeds, what kind of cows or calves that they're going to do. Now think about what drives the prices of both their feedstock and their what they sell. Well, that's driven by day traders, hedgers, hedge funds that are in these big commodity markets in Chicago and in Philadelphia and in New York City, right? And you don't want people who have to plan years in advance to be all of a sudden bankrupt because of some spike or decline in one market or the other, driven strictly based off of speculation or other things. Now there's lots of reasons for it, but that's just one that I think it will resonate with a lot of people. So my point is you need to know, you need to find out what sort of federal, state, and local programs are available to you to help you along in your operation, so that you're not, I'm going to call it flying solo, so that you have sort of that safety net and you can do more long-term business planning and long-term operations planning. And then number five, the most important one: who can you trust to get the information necessary? That you need to know. Who can you trust to get this information? Now, I don't want to say it's more important than your real estate agent or your lender, but kind of right up there with them is your local ag extension agent. Now, not the University of Texas, hook 'em, no. Texas A&M has an incredible service, and it's an agricultural education extension program. So every county will have a minimum of one. Sometimes they've got 3 or 4, depending upon what the focus is these are agricultural professionals out there who are going to teach you about carrying capacity, soils testing, weed control, wildlife management, community engagement and education programs, you name it. And they're going to be the ones who, there's going to be some liability. They can't go around and badmouth this veterinarian or that veterinarian or this service provider or that service provider, but they're going to be a trusted person that's going to help guide you through where it is to get some of this information that we've been talking about during this video. Your ag extension agent. And you know what? I'm gonna put a link down in the description down there, and it's going to be a search tool. So depending upon what county, you can just highlight which county, go to it, and it'll give you the contact information, the email, the phone number, and who is your local ag extension agent. But because that is the most important thing that you need to know when buying Texas Land and Ranch. And look, if you've stuck around this long, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and give me that thumbs up, because I tell you, you doing that, you hitting it, liking it, putting in a comment really helps get this information out to more folks. So if you thought it was important, I assure you there's 10 to 100 other people out there who would want to know this information, and you may be the difference. So look, and when you and your family are ready to move here to this great state of Texas, why don't you just go ahead and give me a call, give us a call, send us an email, send us a text message. Heck, if you want to, send us a note via Pony Express. Any which way you want to reach out to us, we've got your back when moving to Texas.